driver. Okay. Now, go to your page 24, please. Thank you. Just keep it right back there. I love you so much that I'm not going to eat my sandwich. All right. Okay. So, everybody on your page 24? Now, the person who got a B, that means that overall, you tend to show your emotion. If you had to choose between hiding your emotions and showing your emotions, you would show your emotions. If you got an A at the beginning of your code, you're a person who prefers to control your emotions. So you can see the vertical axis covers responsiveness. The horizontal axis deals with how you get your needs met. Right? If you have a L, how many have L's in their code? Okay? Canel, as an example. How do you get your needs met? You prefer to ask versus telling people what to do. So you're very polite. You're very gentle. You're very mannerly. Right? You're not a heathen, right? I'm just teasing. Okay? Now, those of you on the right, how do you get your needs met?
Help.
You prefer to what?
Tell people about it.
If you tell them, right? It's a difference between
This is what I need.
this is what I need, and I need this like yesterday, right? Versus, so now, as we said, there's no good or bad, it's just different. So, for example, Dawn would say, Al, I really need this done. I need this done. Boyfriend, I need this done. I need it done yesterday. I know you're busy, but can you please do your best to get this to me by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? I need this done, right? Canel will say, Mr. Wade, I know you're busy, and if it will be okay with you, is it possible that you can get this done tomorrow by 9 o'clock? A telling style versus an asking style. Are you with me? That's all it is. How do you get your needs met? People who are on the left prefer to ask for things. They feel more comfortable asking. They don't like to be pushy. They don't want to come across as being bossy. That's important to their self-esteem and their leadership style. Right? The person who tells also cares about people, but they care more about results. Right? So the asker cares more about relationship, right? Which is fair. But the teller is concerned about what? Dawn, I'm just using an example. I got to get this done. I got to get this off my plate. This is critical. We got to get this done, Al. I'm telling you, Al, we need you, Al. We need you, right? So you're not asking. You're saying this has got to be done. Guess what? In many cases, that's legitimate because that's the filter of how the urgency. So you're focused completely on results, and you'll clean up the relationship later on. But we got to meet the deadline, right? So you're laughing, but that's exactly how it happens. Now, in terms of going to the next page, page 25, when we look at the vertical axis again, controlling emotions versus showing emotions. It doesn't mean you don't have emotions. It's just your preference. Do you see this now? So, Paige, you'll go to a funeral, and it may be a dear friend from high school, and you would prefer to cry when you get home. That's just your personality. And then you may be sitting next to somebody who's just bawling because they remember the wonderful memories. There's no good or bad. You prefer to keep it in until you get to a private space. The other person prefers to just get it out their system right then and there. Right? So you can see, now, can you cry if you want to? Sure, you can cry if you want to. You loved her, right? Could the other person restrain themselves? Sure they could. It's just a matter of preference. That person who's crying says, you know what, I need to just, I'm not going to mask it. I'm just so overcome with emotion, right? The person who doesn't cry, that doesn't mean they don't have the emotion. They would just prefer to do it at another time. Maybe they wait to the car. Are you with me? So when we talk about behavioral preferences, the reason I like this is because you're not locked in that that's the only reaction you have. Because in some cases, Canel will tell people what to do, and Dawn will say, please, would you consider so-and-so? So it's not that you are locked in, that you don't have the ability to ask or to tell. It's just the preference. If everything being equal, that's who you would prefer to be. Right? And that's what makes Paul so great. He says, now you see it, I can do what? All things. I can behave in different ways and still don't feel like I'm betraying my authentic self. Next page. The horizontal axis of assertiveness. How do you get your needs met? Right? Are you an asker or are you a teller? Why is this important? Because if we're going to go back to servant leadership, Tom, there's sometimes when Jesus told people what to do, and there's sometimes when he asked. So you have to be able to know when is the right time to tell, when's the right time to ask. That's all. And that's where the Holy Spirit gives you discernment. Now, page 27, you put it all together. The person who prefers to ask and controls their emotions, the example is Canal, you're analytical. Let's go around the circle. The person who prefers to control their emotion and prefer to tell to get their needs met, they're known as a driver. That's you, Aaron. The person who prefers to tell people what to do and show their emotion, that's an expressive. That's you, Sandra. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
See, we're going around a circle. The person who prefers to show their emotion but prefers to ask, they're known as a what? An amiable. We have no amiables in here. By the way, I'm an analytical. Next page. So what are some of the advantages and disadvantages? One of the things that T and I have discovered as we travel across the country, in the region, is that people learn so much through this. So we put a quick summary sheet. So what are the advantages of being a driver? You're determined. How many drivers we have? One. Okay, so Aaron, you're determined, you're requiring, you're very thorough, you're extremely decisive, and you're efficient. So there's no accident that you're selling that solution you add to your gas to extend the mileage.
Well, it's a full line of oils and filters.
Exactly what I'm saying. That's part of your efficiency. You gravitate toward things that are efficient.
Correct.
You're natural to elongate the life of a person's car or because of your work in landscaping. What are some of the disadvantages of being a driver? Other people, let's read it together, they perceive you as what? To what? To severe, to what? Sometimes people perceive you as what?
Dominating.
And sometimes you come across as
Harsh.
okay. So now, as Christ would teach this, I want to teach this in a way that now we get to find that balance. There's no good or bad style. When you're reprimanding someone, you may come across as harsh, but it's okay as long as it doesn't say that it's a sin to be these things. It's saying you never stay there. You bounce back and you try to find that balance. Yes, do we have to sometimes come down on people? Yes. That's not un-Christ-like. I just want you to be aware that if you're a driver, you have the tendency to go over there too much. Let's go to expressives. What are the advantages of the expressive?
Personal, stimulating, enthusiastic,
Dramatic.
gregarious.
Awesome. Awesome personalities. Guess what? Every organization needs that to remain healthy. Every ministry, every organization needs enthusiasm, needs someone who's personable. A person in that business can do sales, can do customer service, can do problem solving, can do training. Now, some of the disadvantages are they prefer things to be done, what? Immediately, now, right? Sometimes they can become too excitable. Can I get an amen, Canal? Right, they can get too excited. Now, I say that to Canal because he's him and I analytical. Sometimes when people get too excited, it makes us a little nervous because we want to study things a little bit. We don't want to just make a decision based off of excitement. You know, you got to go back and you got to Google this, and do this, and give me some time. I'll get back to you. Right? Am I right?
That's right.
Am I right on?
Yeah.
All right. So, and then sometimes the person who's expressive is undisciplined, maybe impulsive or reactionary, and sometimes to an analytical or to a driver, they may appear to be talkative or maybe too talk. So it's good to talk, but here again, it's just everybody say balance. Everybody do like this. You just gotta find your balance. You gotta find your balance. Those of you who are watching my TV, you gotta find your balance. Okay? Number 3, the amiable, right? The amiable is extremely what? Supportive, respectful, very dependable, agreeable. They like peace, right? They like for people to be able to get along. They like the office conditions. They want to be friendly and fun. And so the things that are just disadvantages, because they want things to be peaceful, sometimes they're conforming to the status quo when they really don't want to. They are retiring. That means they'll pull back. They don't like confrontation at all. They're too pliable. They want to get along. They want to make people too happy, which sometimes causes them to feel like, you know what, I didn't get my needs met. I should have asked for a raise. I've been here longer, but I didn't speak up because I don't want to cause any strife. So that's one of the problems that when I work with amiables, they have it in them, Dawn, but their need for peace sometimes overwhelms the other parts of their behavior. And then they're dependent, and then sometimes they're uncomfortable because they feel like they betrayed their authentic self, which I hear a lot. Number 4, because we want to move on, turn over to T, the analytical. The analytical canal is what? Read that for me, sir.
Industrious, persistent, serious, vigilant, and also moral.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
For you? For you? Now, your score may be a little different from somebody else, so there's different ranges. A severe analytical would maybe be way over here. You might be a moderate or scoring somewhere between. But not all analyticals are created the same. But my point is in general. So what are some of the disadvantages of the analytical? Sometimes because they study things, they can be critical of people, they can be indecisive, they can be stuffy, and Sandra, this can impact their leadership style, and it could be a scotoma, and they don't know why people at work are not being productive. It could be that they're more moralistic, they're judging, they're exacting, right? And so hopefully this information will cause you to find the balance and to develop that winner that T and I know that's inside of you. So on the next page, your page 29, this is your homework assignment. It's a summary of your characteristics. For example, page, and looking at the middle column which says modifying your style, that's probably the most, just circle that headline, because if you do those things, you're going to automatically improve. Now let's go to the amiables. There's no amiables here, so let's go to analyticals. One of the areas of improvement for you, Canal, is to make a choice. Make a conscious effort to reach a decision. For example, make declarative statements during discussions. Don't let your fact gathering, attention to detail, deliberations be a roadblock to the progress of others or the project. So probably if you're married, your wife is waiting on you to do some things. People at work are waiting for you to complete some things because you're so thorough, sometimes you miss deadlines. Not always. To the expressive, what can you do in your area of improvement?
Hold back.
Hold back. All the expressive, y'all read this, come on. T, Sandra, Dawn, Paige, go ahead, y'all read that for me. Make a what?
Conscious effort to restrain your excitement, impulsiveness, and talkativeness. For
Don't
example,
raise your voice to talk over.
minimize decisions based on your feeling and restrain your need to be the center stage.
Is this helpful?
It's so funny you said that because, Friday I was having an event to do, and I was the MC of this event, and the co-host was like, she has so much energy, and I thought I had pulled all the way back. I was like, but when you're an expressive, your energy takes center stage. Like, you don't even have to try. You're like, I am an 8 and an 8. So I am like a true expressive. And it was so funny because he was like, oh, your wife has so much energy. And I was like, oh, I didn't even do anything tonight.
Right. And from her perspective, in mine, she was very, very, very calm.
Right, I had pulled all
You
the
hadn't,
way back.
she hadn't even gone full throttle.
I hadn't even gone full throttle.
Right. So let's talk about the driver, because Aaron, we want to honor you. So Aaron, one of the things Aaron can do, I'll read this, is learn how to hear others. Make a conscious effort to actively listen to others' ideas, suggestions, and requests. For example, refrain from finishing other people's sentences or interrupting others in mid-sentence. Refrain from formulating your response in your head until the speaker is finished. And the big thing I can say to any of you who are married to drivers, have children who are drivers, encourage them to consider other points of view. So, and then there's a third paragraph, which is adapting to the style. So that's something for you to read later on. Now, if you go to page 30 as I close, thank you for allowing me to have that extra time. I hope that this was well worth your while. I hope you learned something about yourself.
Awesome.
And then from your scorecards, obviously you learned something. And this goes into your portfolio of leadership. Needs that we all have in common, regardless of style. And this is from the great work of Abraham Maslow. Most of you who've had any psychology classes, you know Abraham Maslow created what was called the hierarchy of human needs. From the bottom, Maslow says that the needs that we all have to survive, both physiological and psychological, right? We all desire, going up the pyramid, we all desire what? Safety and security. That's why people always look at crime statistics, Tom, before they move into a new city, a new neighborhood. Because we want to send our children to dormitories that are safe. We want our kids to go that are going to be safe. So all of the criminal justice statistics that are collected around the world, it's so that we make informed decisions as when we deal with our realtor.
Right.
We want, so you can see Maslow has a big impact there. Wegmans very rarely puts one of their stores in a crime-ridden neighborhood. And Wegmans, as a huge corporation, very successful grocery line, started up in the New England area, they only open 2 to 3 stores in the region. My wife and I were talking to the manager, the one in Prince George's. They are very selective, and it's because of number 2. They never put a store in a transient area. It's a middle class or upper middle class area, and that's their brand. If you notice that,
Right.
Walmart will put a store anywhere, but Wegmans, very, very, and they get that from their corporate headquarters. That has a lot to do with psychometrics. They know their target, and even people from other areas, they'll travel to the Wegmans.
Yes.
But the Wegmans is not going to put their, and it's for business reasons. It's not for ethnicity reasons. It's for business reasons. They always put their stores in places that are middle to upper middle class. Very interesting. And they never get criticized for it, neither should they. Okay? They know their market. Right? People don't want to go grocery shopping where there's crime. Right? Number 3, social. We all have social needs.